Okay. Here are our containers. These have little spacers at the bottom. So the roots, it's kind of like a hydroponic system. So the roots are hanging in water, and there's nice soil. And look at this tomato here. It is about 1.5 times thicker than any other tomato. I started that from seed. It just seems to love this environment. And you can see that little tube that comes up so I can water it. And these guys happen to be in a train. That's not necessary, but this is, if you don't have a lot of yard to grow things in, these would be a wonderful way to grow things on a patio. Or maybe even inside, I don't know. But it's great. The plants have water, and they have like a reservoir at the bottom. And we love to put herbs near the house so that we can just come out and get oregano and things like that, and basil.
Rosemary, which we like for the potatoes that we roast.
Okay, so here are our raised beds. And when I made them, they're made out of cedar. They were only about $2.50 for a 4x8. And I made some of them shallower and some of them deeper. I don't know why. Maybe I was thinking maybe carrots and root vegetables and stuff. But you can see the Caesar lettuce in the back, and lots of kale.
Which we just harvest, so there's
yeah,
not much
so it's
left.
cut back quite a bit. But it will grow back, and you'll get more. And here we have some cabbages and possibly broccoli. I kind of lost track. And
I think that's Swiss chard. Is that Swiss chard or spinach? The crinkly.
the crinkly, that's crinkly kale.
Oh.
I got Swiss chard on the other side.
Okay.
And we made little mounds, and we put in some squash. Some of it is doing better than others. But I water that, even though I have this automatic irrigation system, I've still been coming around and watering a lot to help these plants in their initial phase. And here's some cucumbers in the back. And a lot of them didn't come up from seed, so Ann went and bought some from the big box store. We just put those in. These are pole beans, and we have great hopes for that. Notice the height of that thing is about 6 feet tall. I expect that that's going to be full of beans. Last year we planted them too tightly, so we're trying to be more reasonable in our expectations this year. Okay. Do you have anything to say?
Nope.
Okay. So lots of tomatoes, and there's another eggplant that's pretty pathetic. We got that all dried out from Walmart. And I'm afraid it may have given up the ghost, but I keep trying. Oh, I should say that today I watered everything in, the new plants and everything else, with some fish emulsion and seaweed that I mixed in 1/8 cup to a gallon. And so everything's a little smelly. We actually had a cat who was checking the place out. But here we got some peppers. And here, these guys are holdovers. I think this is cilantro and
Kale.
some kale that wintered over. So that's been great. If you can get that to happen, then you get early season food, and of course it's going to seed now because it's been growing ever since last year. And oh, look at, there's a yellow blossom in that tomato. And so okay, another thing I did, since we have so many tomatoes, is I've staked them up, and you can see the twine that's tied to the stake. I'm going to be using the tomato cages for these zucchinis, and let them grow up instead, and just stake the tomatoes. Okay, here's the back garden. These aren't raised beds, and I have some squash that I planted from seed, and that's starting to come up, and I water that every day. We have 2 rain barrels, and I generally, do the farmer's walk thing and bring my watering cans out here. And I do have a spigot in case I don't feel like going all the way back. But here's lots of tomatoes, and you can see all the staking that has been started. And I'll probably run some strings through as well if these things get big. But that's the back garden. And here's our shed, which is turned out, it's a big waste of money. I like it because I can store things. It gives me more storage space. But in terms of a place to start plants, it was a bit of a disaster. I put some contact paper in the windows. It's so hot in there. I have a fan that I installed with a thermostat on it, but it's way too hot in the early spring. If it's like 20 or 30 degrees warmer in there than it is outside, so everything just wilts. But still, it's great for storage, and it was a good idea.
It's pretty.
Maybe I'll figure out something to do. What are you doing?
I'm gonna cut off
Oh, you're clipping.
on the seed, and I do like the cilantro, so I want to be able to keep on using it.
All right, so Ann does this. I have my questions about whether it's worth doing, but she's always clipping off the seed heads or the parts where it's bolted, and maybe it keeps the plant producing leaves that we can use in cooking. But I don't know. Maybe it'll work. She must know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the nice things about the garden. She has her strengths and I have mine. I'm good at digging holes, and she's good at deciding what we need to cook with. And like for instance, I have to treat everything with neem oil, and we have to time that so that we're not harvesting on the same day. But if we don't treat, then what we're going to get is a bunch of little chewers. There's none of those moths out today, those cabbage loopers, but they make the rounds, and I guess they lay their eggs, and so I got to hit them with neem oil, a mixture of soap, neem oil, and water that will cause their little tummies. I think it causes their tummies to be paralyzed, so they basically just lose interest in our plants. On the other hand, I don't really like us ingesting that stuff, so I try to treat with neem oil on, say, Monday, and so when we harvest on Saturdays, it's worked its way out of the system. But once again, different strengths, and it really help the garden be successful.